Today is Special Occasion Day. There are many times when your children or your spouse or you might like to have something really special that doesn't have a lot of gluten in it, that doesn't have a lot of high fructose corn syrup, and that still tastes like a party. So I have the solution, and it's called coconut vanilla cake. And wait till you see how we're going to frost it. It's going to be a candy for your eyes and good for your stomach. So we start out with some unusual but really good ingredients. So instead of our usual wheat flour, we're using coconut flour. We have 1 1/4 cups of coconut flour, and I didn't use almond flour or one of the nut flours because coconut is a little lighter. The flour is a little bit lighter, and when you want a cake or a pastry, you don't want it too dense. That, in the old days we had white flour, and then we had pastry flour, which was a lighter version of white flour. But so coconut flour is just a lighter version of some of the nut flours. Okay, so we're going to take we're going to do that. Our dry ingredients we'll have together, and then we'll mix our wet ingredients, and then we'll mix the wet and the dry together. So we have 1 1/4 cups of coconut flour. We have salt. The exact proportions are at the end of the video. I think it's a teaspoon, and I think it's a teaspoon of baking soda. No yeast, no baking powder, but baking soda. When we put together the dry ingredients, that's easy. And then we're going to do the wet ingredients. So the wet ingredients here, I don't know why, but a lot of these recipes have lots of eggs, but these are from the farmer's market. This is going to be a very nutritious way of making cake. So we've got 8 eggs. We have 2 tablespoons of vanilla. We have 2/3 of a cup of melted butter, and we have honey. Now, I would like it not to have any sugar at all, but it's not a high fructose syrup. It's not anything. It's honey, and it's from the farmer's market, and it's from a honey within 50 miles of here, which when you get honey that within 50 miles of where you live, and it's really not too processed, it's almost like an anti-allergy medicine, because it has the antidotes for what is going on in your area. So here we go. So we've got 1 cup. Ooh, that's a lot of honey. I had some honey that was almost caramelized, and if that happens, you take the bottle and you take some warm water and a cup over the stove, and just like you did with baby bottles, maybe they don't do that anymore, but with the baby bottle, you warm it up in a container of warm water, and that's what you do with the honey, so that it can uncrystallize and go back to its pre-crystallized state. All right, so that's going to be good. There's a lot of difference in honeys, in the quality of honey, and when you do a really good honey from a place nearby you can be sure that the quality is going to be better. Sometimes you look at the price and you go, I don't know what they did to that, but it can't be just pure honey. All right, so here's our melted thing. So I like to break up all the yolks first. So then we're going to mix the wet ingredients together, and then we're going to marry them with the dry ingredients. So here we go. Close your ears. Okay, so now we have our wet ingredients all mixed together really well. This is one you want to mix for 2 or 3 minutes, not a just barely mix, a really good mix. Now we're going to add our dry ingredients. Did a little spill there. And close your ears again. Now we have our wet and dry ingredients and all mixed together. And as I said, you want to beat this longer than usual. You don't want everything just mixed together. Like if you were making muffins, you just have to make sure everything gets connected sort of. But that's not true when you want to whip a lot of air into this. So here we go. We have our 2 8-inch pans that are have shortening in them, and then they're lightly dusted with flour. So now we're just going to come in here. Looks kind of thick. Okay, so now we have them both relatively even, and you know, this is an old trick where you just bounce it a couple times to make sure all the air is out. And the pans look pretty even. So here they go to the oven, 350 degrees for about 30 to 35 minutes. All right, our cake is out of the oven and it looks delicious and smells good. Now we're going to do a cashew cream. So it's a substitute whipped cream. Actually, I'm going to show us both. I'm going to do the cashew cream and I'm going to do a whipped cream so you can see which you like better. But to make a cashew version of whipped cream, you're going to take 1.5 cups of cashews and you're going to soak, it doesn't say to any 1 cup of water. I just love to soak them for a little while. So I did that while the cake was in the oven. I have 7 dates, no seeds. I have a pinch of salt, and I have 2 teaspoons of vanilla. And then I'm just going to put it in the blender until it's a cream. So it's going to be noisy. I'll meet you after this. Okay, here it comes, our creamy cashew butter, or our substitute whipped cream. So I've taken this out of the oven and it's chilled a little bit, or just a little bit. So now I'm going to put a layer of the cashew cream on the bottom. I'm going to take another layer of cake and I'm going to put more cashew cream on top, and then we're going to put blueberries and strawberries or cherries, whatever you have that will make it look really festive. Oh my. Such a lovely surprise. Okay, where did I put that? Here we go. Beautiful. Now it's not too high. I could make a 3rd layer if I wanted to, but it's going to be really rich and really dense. So I don't think I will. You know, this is such a nice surprise. Now you see I have whipped cream that I made next to it, which is, you see, that's a pure white. Because sometimes I'll substitute that too when it's kids' birthday parties. And I'll say you just have to have something that looks beautiful, but it shouldn't be white frosting that's loaded with powdered sugar. Not so good for you. Okay, that looks great. And now we get to decorate. Again, you can use whatever you like. Raspberries are kind of a delicacy. I think we'll do a layer of raspberries, and then blueberries, and then strawberries maybe. Oh, that looks so pretty. Here's a little trick you can do with strawberries where you slice it, but you don't go all the way to the top. And then I'm going to fan it out like that. Oh, that looks nice. Maybe one more there. All right. There we have a quite nice looking, healthy birthday cake. And now for the ultimate test. How can I take a little bit of this and not take away from the birthday surprise? I'm gonna take just a little sneak peek. I can because I'm the cook. You know, you can't trust a skinny cook, so I have to try this. Unbelievable. I mean, unbelievable. Now, if you were to look at this, the texture is a little bit different from a light birthday cake. It is, however, it's not heavy, it's not dense. It's just spectacular and delicious. So I think you ought to try it for your next birthday or special occasion. I think you'll be surprised. Thanks so much.